If you are a neurodivergent professional or entrepreneur, whether that's ADHD, ADHD, OCD, or you don't resonate with any of these labels, but you know that your brain works differently than most people, and you're losing confidence because you know you're capable, but your past failures keep repeating themselves, causing other people to doubt you, and most importantly, causing you to doubt yourself. Then you're going to want to stay until the end of this video because I'm going to break down the very first step you're going to need to take in order to resolve this. Welcome back to the Neurodivergent Superbrain series, brought to you by the 25-Hour Day. My name is Colin Response, internationally award-winning performing artist, entrepreneur, and global ambassador for the #1 luxury brand in the world. But most importantly, I did all of this with what most people call ADHD, an obsessive compulsive disorder. I disagreed. And so I built a business that's helped now over 150 neurodiverse entrepreneurs and professionals rewire their brains from feeling overwhelmed by lack of time, energy, or clarity to becoming masters at executing their ideas profitably and efficiently. Ultimately, so that they could cut their working hours in half, add an extra $10,000 to $20,000 a month to their income while having the freedom to live a balanced and fulfilling life in the process. And today I'm blessed to be joined by our guest, Habib. Now, Habib is a neurodivergent sales professional from Nigeria who is presently in Canada. And I'm going to show him why he is stuck so that he can be empowered to decide whether he wants to permanently remove these barriers from his life or not. And as usual, I'm going to do it while walking backwards. So let's bring on our fantastic guest, Habib. How are you doing?
I feel great, man.
Perfect. I love the energy. So I have your submission. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it up and we'll just start by having you read it aloud.
Okay. I come from a large family in Nigeria who focuses on having a regular paycheck, and that has been the norm. But I believe in being paid for my results. Now I am in Canada. I am trying to excel in sales, and yet my previous fears and failures keep repeating itself. This affects my confidence in finding new offers and in getting results. I keep thinking I'm going to fail. People doubt me, then I doubt myself as well.
Appreciate the honesty. What we're going to do is we're going to dive deep into your submission because there are many people watching this who too have started to doubt whether what they're looking to accomplish is possible. And if you're watching this and that's you, I encourage you, type the challenge that you're facing below in the comments. And one of you will be selected. Well, I guess if it's good, one of you will be selected for your own episode of the Neurodivergent Super Brain series. But for right now, we are going to dive into Habib's. I've taken your submission and I have broken it apart into the core sections that you mentioned. First section that you mentioned is more contextual about your family, what is expected. Then we broke into your beliefs about being paid for results. And then we have more context here about where you presently are. And the rest of these things are actionable. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to reframe these into the affirmative because that's the first step we need to take before we can give you the clarity you'll need to be able to take intelligent action. So right now you are trying to excel in sales. And I want to know, how would you prefer to feel about excelling in sales?
I would love to feel fulfilled.
Nice.
Fulfilled.
Now, how do you want to feel instead of your previous fears and failures keep repeating themselves?
Just want to overcome that.
Want to overcome your fears and failures?
Yeah.
So the first step we're going to take here is we need to look at fears and failures because right now we're looking at this side of the umbrella, fears and the failures of ultimately what you don't want to experience. And so we need to shift the polarity to what it is that you do want to experience because presently your brain is going to be focused solely on the subject matter that you give attention to. Your brain doesn't care that you want to overcome fears and failures. Your brain hears fears and failures, right? Even if you say, man, I have tons of fears and failures, or you say, I have no fears and failures, your brain hears fears, failures, fears, failures. All
Yes.
of the emotion that is encapsulated in the statement around that subject will be what tells your brain that this is important information. And so now your eyes, your ears, your nose, all your senses are tuned to look for fear and failure everywhere. And so what we want to know and look for first is, what is the polarity of this? Rather than what is it that we want to overcome, we want to understand, what does it look like when this has been overcome? Like, what is that reality? So that we can tune your brain, tune your mind to that reality. So for you, what is the opposite of fear?
Courage and confidence.
Nice. And now, what is the opposite of failure?
Success.
So now, would you want to overcome your courage, confidence, and success? I don't know exactly how you could overcome. I mean, I guess technically, I guess you could, but you see how the nature of what you're aiming to do here isn't even compatible with the result you want, right?
Yeah.
Well, now when I ask this question again, what do you want to be experiencing instead of your fears and failures keep repeating themselves?
Being on a hot streak.
Awesome. So you can see how when you define a hot streak, obviously it means that you're winning repeatedly, right? So you see
Yeah.
how that is truly the polarity of fears and failures repeating themselves. Instead, we have successes repeating themselves, which is a hot streak. But we haven't addressed the fear, except for the fact that it's over here, right? So if we look at the true polarity, it is our previous fears are courage and confidence. Failures are success. Repeating themselves is the streak. So each one of these is in their polarity. So if you tell your brain, I want to overcome fears and failures because you don't want to be experiencing this, you will simply experience more of this. But if you tell your brain, you want to experience this, you will experience more of this. Even if you tell your brain you don't want to experience more of this, you will still experience more of this because your brain is not concerned with the context. Your brain is only concerned with the subject matter and the emotion that is connected to it. Emotion and information creates retention for your brain. That's how your brain determines what is important. Information, the subject matter, and the emotion associated with it. It doesn't care whether it's good, whether it's bad, whether it's ugly, whether it's pretty, whether it's tall, it's small, it's big, it's fat, it's black, it's white. It doesn't care. As humans, we've put this construct of morality into the universe, but the universe doesn't inherently have morality. It's just what is is. So it's not saying, oh, well, Habib doesn't want fears and failures. The universe is just saying, well, he seems to put a lot of energy there, seems to put a lot of attention there. That's all he talks about. That must be what he needs. So we need to be able to talk in the language of the universe, which ultimately is the language of our brain and our neurology, which means we need to understand not just how we communicate, but how who we're trying to communicate to or what we're trying to communicate to communicates. Obviously, you speak more than one language. So you understand that it would be foolish for you to speak to someone in a different language and expect for them to understand what you mean just because you spoke to them louder, right? They'd still be like, all I know is that there's a lot of intensity there. And it may be silly, but the universe is speaking of frequency. We are beings of frequency. And as a result, because whether you think about it spiritually, esoterically, or like I'm talking about science, like quantum physics, we are vibrations. Therefore, when we are communicating, it's important that we understand that the exact words we use are of less significance. It's the fact that the words are tied to emotions, and those emotions have vibrations. If I told you a word that you had never heard before, it would have no real emotional arousal in you. So it wouldn't communicate anything. It's not actually the word itself. It's the fact that you have previous experiences with the word, and those experiences are tied to emotions, and those emotions have a frequency. And once you connect to that language, you're connecting to that frequency, you're transmitting it as a communication, right? So that's why something like this, my previous fears and failures keep repeating themselves, versus my courage, confidence, and success keeps repeating itself. And it's causing me to be on a hot streak. that statement is incredibly different in terms of what you're communicating. And you can probably already tell, even just hearing the words, there's a different energy to the statement. So I'm going to go ahead and put this right here.
My courage, confidence keeps repeating itself, which keeps me on a hot streak.
Nice. Okay. So you're picking up what I'm putting down.
Yeah.
Great. So now we're going to move on to this affects my confidence in finding new offers and in getting results. Isn't it so interesting that even without changing the sentence, it has entirely changed the context of this sentence? My previous fears and failures keep repeating themselves. This affects my confidence in finding new offers and getting results. My courage and confidence in success keeps repeating themselves, which keeps me on a hot streak. This affects my confidence in finding new offers and in getting results.
You don't need to change that.
It's very interesting, right?
Yeah.
So when we look at this, of course, technically you could keep it the same because the context has changed, but we want to tighten it up even further. When we look at my confidence, this is great because we're framed in the direction that we want, right? We want the confidence in new offers and getting results. But let's say this is happening. What is a word that is even more powerful than affects? Because affects is pretty neutral. In that context, it was negative. In this context, it's technically positive. But let's turn it into a word that actually means the affirmative, actually means we're moving in a positive direction.
Increase.
There you go. Increases my confidence in finding new offers. Amazing. And now we look at new. Now, new, again, it's a neutral thing, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it goes like in the past, we're trying to get a new offer because we're either we don't have an offer or we're unsatisfied with the offer, versus what would it look like if you had an increased confidence in your ability to get offers? What would be the only context where you would be looking for offers?
Great offers.
Okay. Yeah, there you go. And for the folks watching this, I want you to think about this for your circumstance, right? In Habib's example, it's great offers, but it could be it impacts my confidence in finding better offers. It affects my confidence in finding ideal offers. It affects my confidence in finding more offers, right? There's so many different ways that may be resonant with specifically what you're looking to accomplish. And now we move to in getting results. Now, what kind of results?
I'm looking for the words. Should I use amazing, or I'm looking for a statement, a word that would have a deep impact? Outstanding results.
Oh, there we go. Habib, how many languages do you speak?
I'm fluent in 2, and I understand. I think I understand 3. I'm very fluent in 2. So
What's the third one?
Arabic.
So if you're watching this and you think that for some reason you might not be able to do this, I want you to keep in mind that he is doing this in his second language. So I want you to keep that in mind. He is able to reframe this in his second language. I can barely speak English, so you should be fine. And I want you to understand that as we talk about this, it wouldn't matter what language he is speaking in. But he could take this away and he could do it in either one of the other languages. And it might even be more emotionally resonant with him because depending on what language he grew up speaking or you grew up speaking watching this, you will have more emotional experiences tied to the language, to the experience. The umbrella effect of the negative language and everything that sits underneath that umbrella versus the affirmative language and everything that sits underneath that umbrella, it has the same function across languages because vibration, frequency is universal. It's the same reason why they say music is a universal language, because it is frequency, it is vibration. So as we continue, we move to I keep thinking I am going to fail. So what do you keep thinking instead?
I keep thinking I'm going to win.
Hey, it feels a lot better. And when we look at the language, you could even take it to another level and say, I keep knowing I am going to win. Right?
Yeah.
5 minutes later.
I believe in being paid for my results. I am fulfilled by excelling in sales. My courage, confidence, and success keep repeating themselves, which keeps me on a hot streak. This increases my confidence in finding great offers and in getting outstanding results. I keep knowing I am going to win. People believe in me, and I believe in myself as well. The first phase was depressing. And then compared to the phase 2, I feel empowered by the new concept.
Excellent. Because we're not done.
Yeah.
Here is the key. Habib said that he feels inspired. How we feel as emotional organisms impacts how we behave. If he wanted to accomplish the things he had stated first, in the state of being he was in, he's not going to make decisions that are as intelligent as he can make looking at this. The obvious elephant in the room that we need to address is, well, this isn't happening right now, right? But guess what? You will never make this your experience if you don't first clarify what this is. And if you remember when I said, well, Habib, what do you want to do instead of feeling like your fear and failure keeps repeating itself? And he said, well, I want to overcome the fear and failure,
Yeah.
right? His brain wasn't tuned to this, which meant that it didn't matter what questions he asked or were asked to him, every solution would revolve him back to where he was. But now, as we look at this, the final step that you want to take to actually make a significant change is not just having this affirmation, though it's powerful to declare these things. Now you can ask empowering questions, not why do I keep failing? Not why do other people doubt me? Why do I doubt myself? Because what are the answers? Well, I keep failing because I did this and I did that and I did this. And people doubt me because this thing sucks about me and this thing sucks about me and this thing sucks. And when I did that, it sucked. And I doubt myself because these people doubted me. And what do? We arouse emotions that further impress that reality, which then further reinforces our beliefs, not just our beliefs about those things from this esoteric space, the actual neurological impact. The fact that as you imprint the emotion of all of these things you don't want to be experiencing, ultimately, what you are doing is telling your brain, this is important. Look for more of this. Two, any questions you ask around that are going to center back to finding more of that. And you're literally tuning your sensory faculties to that result. Like the more emotion you connect with that information, whatever the information is, right? If you're saying it's stuff I don't want, this is the information, and the emotion is it's a lot of it. I really, really don't want it. That creates retention. That retention is what tunes your brain, tunes your senses to what it's supposed to perceive using your reticular activating system. So the more emphasis you give there, the more you tell your brain, delete everything else that's not that. So it's not just, oh, it feels worse or it feels better to feel this. It's literally that you won't be able to see solutions because your brain has rendered them as irrelevant. And it's saying, well, I can't take in all information. I can only take in the information that matters. But that's how it determines what matters, is the emotion we tie to things. So when we come here, now we can start to actually ask not just intelligent questions, but empowering questions that are connected to the result of the frequency space we want to be in, which are, what could I do to excel further in sales? Not why do I keep failing, but what could I do to excel further in sales? Or what steps could I take to improve my courage? Or what actions could I take to improve my confidence? So we want to then use words like what and how instead of words like who and even why, because that forms a question. And when you form a question instead of a statement, you open your consciousness. When you think about the statement, I'm fulfilled in excelling in sales. It's a statement, or I'm failing. It's a statement, but it doesn't open your consciousness. Our brain for now millennia has been programmed to expand itself at the form of a question. Questions look for answers and solutions. Statements do not. They're just statements, right? So if you look back and we take a gander, what a Canadian thing to say. If we take a look at this, what we'll see is statements. I come from a large family in Nigeria, now in Canada. I believe this. I'm trying to do this. My previous failures are doing this. This affects my confidence in doing this stuff. I'm thinking about how I'm going to fail. People doubt me. I doubt myself. All of them are statements. They are declarations to the universe. None of them are actual openings of solution. And even if they were, you'd still get trapped in the cycle, which is what a lot of people get stuck with. But when you look at where we are here, these are now statements of affirmation. These are now things that are empowering. And that's a great step. But what still is necessary is they need to become questions. And so you need to use language like what and how, and then use language like I, so that it's actionable from yourself rather than other people. Like, what can this person do to make me feel this way? That doesn't really matter, right? But what steps can I take to improve my confidence? How am I going to measure my success? What would I need to do for my success to keep repeating itself? Well, the first thing I need to figure out is like, well, what do I define as success? If I need to repeat it, well, what is success to me? How am I presently defining success? When we define it, we might find that we have actually experienced some success. Maybe there are things we have done that were successful that we can analyze how we were able to achieve those things and multiply that behavior. Something we cannot do when we're looking at the failure and the lack of confidence. The best thing we can do is really understand that, oh, these are the things that have been causing failure. I want to do less of them. But guess what? If you do more of the things that improve your confidence, by virtue of that, you will be doing less of the things that decrease your confidence. So if you focus on this umbrella, you don't need to focus on what you want to stay away from. You are automatically doing that. And you have a higher probability of having things that are centered around other things under that umbrella. Things like knowing that this increases my confidence in finding great offers and getting outstanding results. You say, okay, what would increase my confidence in finding great offers? Well, I have to ask myself, well, what is a great offer to me? How do I define a great offer? What does that mean to me? Then when you know what that is, like maybe a great offer has a certain amount of leads or the potential for you to earn a certain amount. Okay, now you define that. So now you can specifically ask the questions around that, because what is necessary for you to acquire a offer that has the potential to earn you $10,000 a month is different than what's required or $40,000 a month. There are different requirements. It might not even be better or worse. It might just be hours, right? It might just be availability. Some of it might be skill set, but maybe the things you're focusing your energy on aren't even the factor that is most significant in contributing to your ability to achieve these particular results. What are outstanding results? Maybe you want to be selling something for someone else, but you don't actually yet know what they define as outstanding results. What is their KPI? What is it that they're looking to achieve? Maybe reliability is more important to them, and your consistency is more important to them than having massive numbers. Maybe your own longevity and commitment to being on the team for a prolonged period of time is more valuable to them. None of these things we know until we define what outstanding results means. I keep knowing I'm going to win. How can I put myself in a circumstance where I know I'm going to win? Who are the people who believe in me? Like maybe there are people who doubt you. There are people who doubt me, and I'm doing just fine. Somebody sent me an email like 2 days ago. That's I got to put it on the screen if I can. An email said, I just can't get over you walking backwards. It's annoying as shit. Respectfully. That's the email they sent me. They took time out of their day to type that email to me. And I'm just thinking, like, I'm sure your knees beg to differ. But the point is that people do believe in me. I have clients transforming their lives. So do people say, doubt me? Sure. But it's not relevant. So then my focus becomes, well, people believe in me. Who believes in me? Okay, what could I do to increase the volume of time I spend around the people who believe in me, right? What are the attributes of the people who believe in me? What could I do to find more people in my life who have those attributes? Okay, how could I bring more awareness about the people who do believe in me? How could I know that people believe in me? Well, have I asked people if they believe in me? And then you can ask them, well, why is it that you believe in me? Maybe it's you writing down a stack of beliefs of being, okay, this person believes in me. You can have so much evidence as to why people believe in you. It could become your wallpaper on your phone. You could have them printed out all over the place. The main point is your brain is responding to the emotion and the information. The more emotion, the more retention, the more instances that this has occurred, the more evidence it has. Anyone watching this, it does not matter what you're experiencing. If you give your brain more evidence of the contrary, it will shift its priority. It doesn't even matter if it's happened your entire life. And I can promise you, if it has, chances are it wasn't happening actively your entire life. It was people around you saying things to you, or you had that perception, or maybe it was a teacher, but you weren't actively like every single day sitting down being like, I suck so much. Let me go ahead and write down all the reasons why I suck. And even if you were, you could still outpace it. So with most people, even if it's been decades that they've spent feeling like they weren't empowered, I share this with all of you so that you know that if you have the right systems in place, you can entirely shift your neurology because you can outpace decades of programming in a short window of time. 60 days, 90 days, maybe 120 days to shift the rest of the next 3, 4, 5, 6 decades of your life and not have those issues.
There are a lot of things I was supposed to do. I knew exactly what I had to do, but then I will do something extremely stupid, then I will mess everything up. That was almost the kind of reality I've been struggling with. But I didn't really understand that it was just the idea of trying to avoid failure itself. When we were in the session, I realized I was scared of failure, but I have forgotten that you have to fail in order to be confident in getting success. The shift has opened my mind into giving my thoughts a certain context. Because probably to this meeting, I had been thinking like, oh, before I do anything, I'll say, I might even fail doing that. So when someone rejects me, I knew you were going to reject me. It was just like the outcome confirming my preconceived notion of the reality without really knowing that I was giving out the aura of someone that was going to fail right from the beginning. So it's stupid to me now. It's polar opposite what I'm supposed to be doing. What is it that is going to give me that aura of confidence and courage? Asking that question gives me much more clarity as to achieving courage and confidence. And when we talk about success, is it just about the number in the bank account? Or is it just to see my kids smile at me? Or is it just to experience everything? So I think having a number to contextualize the cause that will lead to the effect I'm looking for is one of the major things I'm missing. And then pinpointing exact things I need to do. I think I need to sit down and reanalyze everything I've personally believed in the past to see how I have been sabotaging myself towards the success. For example, initially when I wrote People Doubt Me, I had an encounter with someone I trusted, but the person ended up saying a lot of shit I didn't expect that person to say. The negative comment shifted my perspective from those people that actually believed in me and loved me. And it made me get frustrated by the negativity that other person portrayed. So I think I just saw how naive I was to have believed in that concept and to have made that to affect my own self-confidence and my own personal belief in myself. A lot of people talk about confidence and courage, but then they don't even know how to exude the aura of confidence and courage. I feel like I can now exude the kind of aura I need to achieve those things. And I can't thank you enough for that.
This is the purpose of this series, for people to expand their awareness so that they can realize the full context of their circumstance and that what they may think is the problem is not the real
It's not a
problem.
problem.
Is not the real problem. And this is the challenge that a lot of neurodiverse professionals and entrepreneurs face, is that they spend so much time, so much energy, so much money trying to resolve the symptoms of the problem, but they don't have clarity on how to resolve the core neurological issue that is causing them to have a lack of clarity or causing them to have these overwhelming fears, to have these self sabotaging behaviors. And they think that it is inevitable when there is an easier way. If you are watching this and you resonate with the things that Habib shared, because these things have kept repeating themselves, click the link that's in the description to this video, because even though our enrollment is currently full. I have put a link to one of our free masterclasses. You can attend and you will see what is possible for you when you learn how to leverage the way that the neurodiverse brain naturally works. You can work in collaboration with your mind, earning more in less time and with less energy so that you can live a more fulfilling life. Or you cannot attend the free masterclass and you can continue to make things harder for you than they need to be. But I would love to see you as successful as you and I both know you have the capacity to be. Click the link in the description and you'll see what is possible for you. Until then, thank you to our guest, Beeb, for joining us.
It's my pleasure.